What are opinions ahead?
Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, those of unspecified gender. My name is Zoozoobab and welcome to Pokévember. On the final day of November. Hooray, yeah, I'm so good at this. The annual month in which I should be making more videos, but this year I couldn't be bothered, so I just made this video instead. So Pokemon Sword and Shield got released on the 15th of November, and the only reason you're watching this video is because a better PokeTuber said something that you disagree with. Now, I'm not a professional reviewer, I just have a minor critical eye for certain things, so if this review seems a little fragmented, please forgive me, for I am a big dum-dum. If you want to go in pretty blind, be warned that this video will contain massive amounts of spoilers for the story, the new Pokemon, characters, etc. So if you're one of those people who need an arbitrary review score, here you go. Alright, cool. So let's start with this review by separating all the topics into categories. The story for this game is pretty similar to every other mainline Pokemon game. You're a young'un on a journey to collect all 8 gym badges and become the Pokemon Champion. Yes, you heard that right, 8 gyms, meaning the trials from Sun and Moon are dead. So, pretty standard stuff. Grab your starter, meet the professor, go get a Pokedex, and journey off into the world. In this game, however, you aren't the only person taking the gym challenge. No, I don't mean, hey, your rival is also there. I mean that the people are actively competing against you to become the champion. And whilst you will become the champion, because of course you will, I feel that having other participants there gives the gym challenge a completely different feel to it that isn't present in any other game. Whilst you collect your badges and progress, you'll get cutscenes of lore and exposition, which is handled pretty well for a Pokemon story, not gonna lie. Sonia, the professor's assistant, will arrive in each town and city and explain bits of Galarian history to you. I believe that, whilst somewhat forced, makes the world feel a bit more lived in. Like, other games had myths and legends about their legendary Pokemon, but this game makes it seem like the whole region is enriched in culture, and that culture stems from the legend of the Sword and Shield. In the game you'll come across trainers to battle and Pokemon to catch, but you'll also come across Team Yell. For a brief moment you're led to believe that these mad lads will be the main antagonists of the game, but they're not. They're just fanboys for one of your rivals, and I love it. Throughout the game you'll encounter Team Yell grunts, but they're not stealing Pokemon or trying to bring the world to its doom, they just want to cheer on their friend. That's nice, that's wholesome, I love it. Throughout the game I was led to believe that this would be the first straightforward Pokemon game with no interruptions from evil teams or someone plotting to destroy the world. How wrong I was. At the very end of the game, right before your championship match against Leon, Chairman Rose straight up loads up a monitor and announces that he's going to bring about the darkest day. Like, that's something he straight up says. And it's bad. That is so contrived and annoying. It was only like 10 minutes before your match that Rose had even the slightest hint that he might be evil. But even then, his assistant was crazier than he was. You could have had her be the villain in the hopes of pleasing Rose. Or heck, even just have the darkest day happen without warning. But no, it had to be caused by Rose. It had to be. That being said, the fight that follows this is very fun and interesting. What with having both the Sword and Shield legendaries assist you in taking down Eternatus. That is pretty cool. Straight up, the post-game for Pokemon Sword and Shield is really weak. How do you manage to go from hunting alien creatures for the international police to repeatedly fighting some rich douchebags? There is no reason for these people to be here. This is just a way to get you to fight the mascot legendary, and that could have been done in a myriad of different ways. Like, you could take on trials like the gym challenge, or even battle a gauntlet of different Pokemon. It's just disappointing. Aside from the story, you've got the basic battle tower stuff, singles, doubles, you know the drill. At this rate, I don't think we'll ever get a Battle Frontier again. I think we need to make peace with that now before Game Freak disappoints us with the Diamond and Pearl remakes. Characters in this game are hits or misses. You've got good characters like Hop, Leon, Bede, and Sonia. But then you've got Chairman Rose. Nothing describes how much I actually hate this man. He ruined a perfectly fine story for no discernible reason. Literally, Leon straight up says that no one needs to worry about Galar's future because it's 1,000 years away! If you wanted an evil character, you could have used the chairman's assistant. She goes crazy, or heck, give the post-game villains more depth and make them obsessed with bringing about the darkest day so they can be like the heroes or whatever. Quite frankly, I'm not too bothered about the gym leaders not getting much in terms of characterization, because, you know, we barely see them outside of their respective gym challenge. Personally, I think it would have been neat to see the other two gym leaders that you don't get in your respective game to appear in the quarter-finals, semi-finals thing that happens. But I'm fine with just facing the same gym leaders again, because, you know, that gives them a little more depth. Of course, Rip Milo, but also not Rip Milo. Like, he straight up looks like a psychopath. I'm not kidding, I do not like his design. What's with the lack of the whites of his eyes? He doesn't have a nose! Bruh, the Pokemon in this game are so good. There are a decent amount of cute and cool mons, and I certainly have my favourites. During my first playthrough of Pokemon Moon, I found myself catching only 6 Pokemon and sticking to that team. I didn't want to do that here. Instead, I went about catching every new Pokemon and every new Galarian form. In doing so, I found myself switching up my team rather often, replacing the slackers with more powerful Pokemon, or choosing to use one Pokemon over the other because it looks cooler, which I found to be an extremely fun way to play the game. By the end of the game, these were my Pokemon and their nicknames. There was Richie the Rillaboom, Mario the Colossal, Michael the Corviknight, Austin the Orbeetle, Xylo the Arctozolt, and Bree the Weezing. I named them after my friends because I'm a sappy emotional wreck, and I felt this gave me a closer connection to my Pokemon. I think out of this lot, 1 or 2 have actually been added to my top 10 favourites. The only weaknesses in this game's pool of Pokemon, at least in my eyes, is a selection of water types. To me, I just don't feel like any of their designs were up to par with the rest of the Pokédex. I mean, this was the first Pokemon game where I haven't had a water type on my team. But, other than the water types, the Pokemon in this game are fantastic. Let's get this point out of the way. Unfortunately, there is no way to customize your gym challenge uniform. You're stuck with the basic white league outfit, which begs the question as to why the NPCs give out gym uniforms if you can't wear them. The gyms are the most fun that they have ever been though. Each one has its own trial to be, and then it's followed by challenging the gym leader, each of whom has their own Dynamax/Gigantamax Pokemon, except Piers. Piers is a good boy. Speaking of Gigantamax, boy howdy is this game anime as all heck. For 3 whole turns you can enlarge your Pokemon. In this state, all of your moves will essentially become Z moves. Your stats increase, so it's basically if Mega Evolutions and Z moves had an ungodly love child. Quite frankly, in terms of the story and how Dynamaxing is used, I'm perfectly fine with it. It works as a gimmick, it ties neatly into the story structure, and it's overall good. However, when it comes to competitive battling, I adamantly hate this feature. Okay, so let me explain myself. With Mega Evolution, each Pokemon that could Mega Evolve felt special, and there came a unique strategy into how you go about building your competitive team. Would you bring in just the one Mega and have your other Pokemon focus on support or other niches? Or would you take in multiple Pokemon that had the potential to Mega Evolve and try to play mind games with your opponent? Hell, you could even not bring in any Mega Pokemon because your team's strategy would be ruined if you switched out even one Pokemon with a Mega. There was a method to the madness of Mega Evolution, and it was brilliant. Z moves were arguably worse, but they still worked. This time, literally any Pokemon had the ability to bust out just one super move based on what Z crystal that Pokemon was holding, and what kind of base moveset your Pokemon had. It had limitations, and it was better for it. Dynamax decides to throw that strategy out the window. Now you don't need to give your Pokemon a held item to be more powerful. It can just do the powerful thing and have a held item. Which is what got Mega Rayquaza banned from competitive battling, but we're not talking about that. And these new moves given to the Dynamaxed Pokemon, whilst somewhat similar to Z moves, are much less creative. Like, don't get me wrong, the animations are all cool, but if the move you want to use used to be a status move, then no matter what, the new Dynamax move is Max Guard. You can't do anything to change that. Like, with Z moves, you had things like Z Splash that would raise your attack 3 stages, or Z Tailwind that would raise your critical hit ratio by 2 stages, or even Z Teleport, which would fully restore the user's HP. Nothing like that with Dynamax moves. You either guard or attack. I guess the attack comes with a boost based on the type of move, but here's a secret for you. The boost is either a corresponding weather effect, terrain, or if it doesn't fall under those 2 categories, it's a stat boost or decrease. Dynamaxing is bad. Oh wait, but there's Gigantamaxing, you may say, because we couldn't have every Pokemon have the equal potential of getting stronger. Oh heavens no. No, we had to put a tree on a Snorlax! The concept of Gigantamaxing is even dumber than Dynamaxing. If they left it at Dynamaxing, I would have been fine and content, but they decided to give Gigantamax forms to 10 Generation 1 Pokemon, 14 Generation 8 Pokemon, and 1 to a Generation 5 Pokemon, and 1 to a Generation 7 Pokemon. Yeah, no, that's fine. Totally don't see a problem here. Sure, whatever, Game Freak, okay. All in all, this game looks gorgeous. A lot of people online are saying that, oh, they just scaled up the 3DS models, and I'm like, no? Sure, animations and assets may have been reused, but have any of you actually designed a game? Because game design is all about cutting corners where you're able to, and even then there's so much more detail in these models, especially with the clothing and facial expressions. I'm no professional artist or graphic designer, but I can tell how much hard work and dedication Game Freak put into these designs, and oh my god, Bolonli Town is my new favourite place in the entire Pokemon world because of how gorgeous it is. During cutscenes there were some notable frame rate issues, but when it comes to the actual gameplay and battling, everything was smooth sailing, no worries whatsoever. I find this game extremely replayable, since the story is, for the most part, really good for a Pokemon game, and I honestly don't mind going through the dialogue and testing out all of the options. Playing through the game with multiple different teams is also really fun, and I encourage all of you to do the same. I mean, you have no excuse. You can create multiple profiles on your Switch. There is literally a way to have multiple save files on one console. How is this not something people are raving about? But I digress. Overall, this has been a really fun experience. Needless to say, if you enjoyed playing through the other stories of the other mainline Pokemon games, you'll enjoy this one too. I'm not really one for competitive battling, but I've already made my viewpoints on Dynamaxing clear, so I'll leave that be. What else can be said? It's another Pokemon game. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye. Just kidding, they got rid of Bulbasaur and Squirtle but kept Charizard and even gave him a new form. Worst game, 0 out of 10!